going on, Jerome? Romies? A beautiful Thursday. Sun is shining, birds are chirping and stuff, and it's time for Vikings Thursday news dump. That's right. First up, the Vikings picking up Josh Dobbs, who had been traded from Arizona. Arizona, before the start of the season, had acquired him from Cleveland, and now the Browns are having a bit of an issue. So Deshaun Watson, season-ending surgery, shoulder. Now they're going to roll with DTR, the rookie, or PJ Walker, Dynamite, and could be kind of tough. I mean, that Browns defense, respect, is really damn good under Jim Schwartz, but they sure could use a guy like Josh Dobbs right now. Now, yes, DTR did beat out Josh Dobbs for the QB2 job in training camp, hence why they traded him to the Cardinals, but don't you think that they would kind of wish that they had him in Barr right now? No big deal, but he's ours, so sucks to suck. Again, Kwesi 1, former mentor Andrew Berry 0, goose egg, D'Angelo Russell. That's right, man. Also, the Vikings offensive line is putting up goose eggs in terms of sacks and pressures, which you love to see, and they're starting to get a little bit of love from the analytics community and the national media jabroni haircuts. So per Zoltan Budde, offensive line rankings for 2024, Vikings check in at numero 5. Now, it's Darrisaw, it's O'Neal, it's everyone else, but Bradbury has stepped up, Dalton Reisner has slid in nicely at left guard, and Ed Ingram, major respect, has really turned around his career. First year was whatever. The beginning of the season, not so much. But the Vikings O-line, they're getting after it, man. They're a big reason why the Vikings have won 5 in a row and 6 out of 7. And looking at the rest of the rankings, the Lions up there, but Big V going down with a back issue. I mean, they've dealt with injuries along the O-line as well. Ravens getting after it. But also, remember, the Ravens offensive line, like, you don't even know if Ronnie Stanley is good or not. But having a mobile quarterback like Lamar Jackson or Josh Dobbs certainly covers up a lot of stink. But, of course, we know that Christian Darrisaw is actually really good. Colts O-line, respect. Eagles are still up there, sure. Falcons, I mean, yeah. I mean, the Cowboys to a degree. Tyler Smith is a stud, by the way. Chiefs, yes. Dolphins, yes. Bills? Okay. Guess it gets kind of thin at the bottom. Speaking of, well, I don't have a transition, but the Vikings now have the longest active win streak in the National Football League at five games. Frankly, I mean, if a couple of officiating calls didn't go for the Chiefs' way, and if they didn't get every single freaking call, maybe the Vikings win streak would be at 7. But sort of is what it is. But we'll make it 7 after the Vikings win the next 2 games. And thank you for the Jaguars for proving that you're frauds against the Niners. And now we get to end what's tied for the second active longest win streak. The Broncos of 3 games, allegedly, on Sunday night. It's going to be good times. Also, so we talked about Pro Football Talk's power rankings the other day, but you don't really get into it until you get into like the top 10. So this is PFT's top 10 heading into week 11. Now, Florio is like a self-loathing Vikings fan that's not a thermos. And again, I fully understand. He's seen a lot more football than I, and you don't want to get your hopes up because just like, oh, this team will let you down. That's right. But, I mean, look at the top 10. So, the Vikings, I think the Vikings clocked in at like 12 in his rankings. Doesn't matter. But they're not in the top 10. But who would you rather have right now? Who's playing better ball? Like, who is a hotter team? The Vikings or the Seahawks? Obviously, the Vikings. The Vikings or the Browns? And the Browns without Deshaun? Although the Browns' defense is pretty damn legit. The Vikings or the Cowboys? Now, this one is relatively close. Dak is actually not playing like ass. CeeDee Lamb is playing above the rim, and that defense is legit. All right. And then the Vikings or the Jaguars. I understand the Jaguars had that winning streak, but Trevor Lawrence, there's some issues there. There certainly is. So, I mean, I understand the Dolphins, the Ravens, the Lions for now, until the Vikings beat their ass twice. The Chiefs, the Niners are up there, sure, even though the Niners had lost 3 games in a row, and then the Eagles have won. Fine. But you can't tell me with a straight face that the Vikings aren't better than the Seahawks, the Vikings aren't better than the Browns, and the Vikings aren't better than the Jaguars. You can't tell me that. Toss up right now for the Cowboys, but we'll see what happens in the next couple of weeks. Speaking of the next couple of weeks, so Anthony Barr helping fill in the void left by Jordan Hicks going on injured reserve. Anthony Barr rocking the 5'4". It's such a cute story, man. So 54 was the number of Eric Hendricks. He and Barr go way back like chiropractic, prior to UCLA. That's right, even though fight on. But Anthony Barr, for war number 55, currently occupied by UDFA Andre Carter II. Now, Barr could have come in and basically just declared prima nocta, be like, I got 55. Watch Braveheart. But 54 was unoccupied, so Anthony Barr actually called up Kendricks. Is like, hey, can I wear your old number? And then he's like, yes. That's really how it went down, man. And I'm actually excited because this is not a nostalgia pickup, because remember, Kwesi did not draft or extend Anthony Barr. He actually let him go. Kevin O'Connell never coached Anthony Barr, and same thing with anyone on the staff, but he can bring some depth to the off-ball position, as well as he can still rush the passer, and I'm excited to see what Brian Flores is going to do with him. Speaking of a guy that I wish that Brian Flores would have an opportunity to coach, so AEM Hicks, reportedly is getting some interest from a couple of teams, put out by Jeremy Fowler, ESPN, and I do think that Hicks is going to get picked up by a contender. I mean, obviously that makes a lot of sense. And the Vikings, the defensive line could use a little bit of depth, could use a little bit of quick interior pass rush. Now, Jonathan Bullard has played above the rim this year. Harrison Phillips has played his ass off, but the Vikings just need something. And Hicks, I mean, is he the same 3-down pass rushing and run stuffing nose tackle that gave Garrett Bradbury PTS throughout all those years? No, he's not that guy. But is he a dude that can give you 15, 20 snaps a game and get after it? Yes. I absolutely think that he could do that, man. Also, I think that JJ could potentially return against the Broncos. Now, head coach Kevin O'Connell has been very much hedging his bets, and I respect the way that they progressed him back slowly, making sure that he is ramping up gradually in practice and making sure he is good to go, and see how his body responds after practices. But Alec Lewis, the Athletic, go. Vikings head coach Kevin O'Connell on wide receiver Justin Jefferson. He's going to do a little bit more today on Wednesday. We'll see how he responds to that a little bit more tomorrow. We're in that day-to-day ramping him up phase. We'll determine if it's possible at all to have him for this weekend. And I think that JJ would love the spotlight. So, yes, the Vikings have 2 straight primetime games. We'll get to the Bears game not being flexed in a second. But the Vikings... Sunday night. And yes, the Vikings are on a 5-game winning streak. The Pastronaut is a major storyline right now around the league. And JJ, by God, that's Justin Jefferson's music on Sunday Night Football. Tarico and Collinsworth, I think it would be beautiful. And with JJ, I don't see them bringing him back as like, he's like 95%. So we're just going to have a small package of plays for him. I don't think that's going to happen. I think he's either all in or he's not going to play. So I think that he's going to be out there, and I think he's going to tear things up against stupid-ass Sean Payton, which, by the way, so I refuse to use the actual man's image. It will ever be Paul Blart, Mall Cop. But enough doesn't get said about, hey, Sean Payton was suspended for a year because of Bountygate, and not just because of the Vikings part of it, but also, I mean, they ended Kurt Warner's career with the Cardinals because that's what they did to him in the wild card round. Now, I feel like that got glossed over a lot, and he was welcome back, and people don't really talk about that. But Pepperidge Farm remembers. No big deal. Like, there's a right way to play the game. There's a wrong way. That was the wrong way. No big deal. It's kind of a big deal. So, hey, remember all the hype that surrounded the Bears during the offseason? And Justin Fields is going to be the first 4,000-yard passer in Bears history. The Bears are going to take back the North and never give it back. The Bears got weapons now with DJ Moore. The Bears got an offensive lineman, Darnell Wright. Blah. Splat. Like, even when Justin Fields is healthy, he was ass, thank you, but he returns now. Tyson Bagent actually looked better, but the Bears are a mess. The Bears are in disarray, and the Bears, I don't think, are going to make 12-5. The Bears may end up with the number 1 overall pick from the Panthers, as well as a top 10 selection in their own right. That's fine, but they'll screw it up. They'll screw it up. But I actually feel like if you swap out the Vikings and the Bears, and then you may have this right. Maybe give the Lions a couple more wins, but I mean, also I don't think the Packers are getting to 8, and obviously the Bears aren't getting to 8. So there you go. But either way, it's tough luck for the Bears. Bears down bad, and they're also going to be down worse on Monday night. Monday night, 2 weeks from now. So the NFL, if they wanted to flex out Vikings and Bears, which is going down on Monday night, the 27th, they had to do it with 12 days notice, and the 15th of November passed. Remember the 15th of November, and there was an announcement, so beep, pop, up, boop. Seems like Vikings and Bears will be a go on Monday night. Now, It could have gotten flexed out mainly because the Bears are ass. Thank you. But I think the league saw, the Pastronaut storylines, JJ potentially returning, big time primetime game. It does make sense. And also, I mean, if Justin Fields is out there, he'll be entertaining, even though he'll be terrible. NFL nerd, who is a bit of a guru with the schedule. No flexes incoming for Week 12. Bears at Vikings will remain on Monday Night Football. The NFL has yet to flex a primetime game so far this season. Darren Doogie-Wolfson, KSTP Sports, also backed up that report. So, I mean, Vikings, Bears on Monday night, 2 primetime games in a row, beating the Broncos' ass, coming back home, beating the Bears' ass at home, where U.S. Bank Stadium would be loud and proud, head into that bye week, burn down Vegas, and then go into the Queen City, eat up all the chili, poo-poo on the Bengals, and then take the Lions 2 out of the 3, and then also just completely crap it on the Packers on New Year's Eve. It's gonna be fantastic. So, again, back in Week 5 when the Vikings were 1-4, could you have said that the Vikings would end up 13-4? Maybe tongue in cheek. But there's a path to it. They actually could do it, man. Actually, could do it. We'll see. But your thoughts are thoughts. Vikings news dump for this beautiful, wonderful Thursday. Let us know your thoughts and our thoughts in the comment section below. Subscribe for daily Vikings takes. Want to support the work? Put a little something in the Venmo. But till next time, Skol, production value.